on the program. Equities market of the Nigerian Exchange Limited rises by 1.45 trillion naira in April, as a total of 17 fundamental companies contributed about 98% to market capitalization in the month under review. So now, let's begin the show now with the analysis of the Nigerian equities market, especially with regards to the performance of the equities market in April. So joining me now is Mr. Ambrose Amodian, Chief Research Officer, Investor Consulting Limited. He's here with us on the program. Thank you for joining us, and welcome back from that long holiday. Monday and Tuesday, the market went to bed, and now we are back.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
When you look at the market in the month of April, if you look at the, of course, that figures, that's about 1.45 trillion naira in April. A total of 17 fundamental companies contributed about 98% to the market capitalization in the month of April. So let me ask you first, what's your overview analysis of the capital market in the month of April?
Yeah, I would say one that for index to move above the 49,000 mark, it means that price of equities has also appreciated. And also for you to record about 1.4, as we just said, on the market capitalization, that means that wealth have been created for investors at the same time. It don't mean that April was one of the best months so far, after we saw the month of March pulling back as a lot of profit-taking activities. Now that people are seeing positive numbers, you can see that there's kind of a rekindled interest in buying in some of these blue chip stocks. It tells you that investors are looking at this is the way for them to hedge against inflation. Because if you are seeing that any yields are assuring, investors that that any is enough to protect what against inflation, knowing that the fixed income market is already shaking, because we are looking forward to see the inflation figure in the month of May for April. That alone shows that the kind of what we call shift of fund, or we'll call it a circular flow of fund in economies. Funds are leaving some fixed income instrument to equity where they can hedge against it, because the increase in NEC, as I said earlier, has given assurance that for now stock can be used to what to protect against what inflation, knowing that those in that fixed income market are already bleeding because of what negative returns already. And also don't forget that as you're looking at the result that came to the market too, it's an insight where the market is going. Also there's a report that said the PFAs, the big players also are selling off their trading position to go for stocks. It tells you that also they are seeing that that is the only way they can hedge against inflation, knowing that the first quarter GDP we're expecting to come in this May. We're expecting what's it called, inflation to come in this May. We're expecting also manufacturing what we call manufacturing index to come this period this month. For that, you see, all eyes are on economic data to see where the economy is going. Also, I said earlier that don't forget that the World Bank has also forecast that we're likely to see an increase in economic growth. Why other climate like China, they are also forecasting a decline. Already we saw what happened in US. We see because of the result also are giving us insight in US that they're going to also see a decline in their GDP, which also happened in US. But seeing a positive number in our market here now tells that this company has also done well. It tells that we're likely to see also a positive GDP for Q1 2021 for Nigeria, and also MPC is ahead of in the new month. You see that we expected that either there will be also a little hike or not. But I see that if we're maintaining a positive trend in terms of numbers, telling us what has happened in Q1, we're likely to see that trend continue in Q2. On that note, I see that investors should just relax, but don't be carried away because the market is gyrating. Rather, let your entering and your exit strategy guide you. No one to take profit, because there's an energy that said, or a slogan that said, sell in May and come back in October. If it happened in this May, it's likely to be profit taking. But our market have defied that sell in May for almost the past 6 years now. But it might get to the surface because we have seen April giving you about 5.7 return in the month of April alone. The possible that all those blue chips that have gone up, we will start taking profit from them, and the market will start coming up.
So you can as well describe the market as sell in April now, perhaps, maybe, and then wait for December to buy again. Looking at the result, because the market has performed like almost 13% alone this year.
No, about the market are above 16%.
Above 16% already, and that's to tell you that that's impressive. But if you look at the market in the month of April, it seems the oil sector, dominated the month of April with Seplat led 15 others stocks to push the index high?
Actually, the oil sector will continue to dominate going to the future. You know, if you look at other mature client market, you see that the oil producing companies or manufacturing companies are the one producing good numbers in that sector, which is not going to replace here because we saw life of Seplat. Despite I saw a missed number, but that's a good number. We expect that as from August, where we expect Owando to release their 2021 financials, for us to know their position. But I believe that oil-related companies should do well now because prices of oil has gone up. That is why I see other companies are also able to push their price to consumers, also going to post a positive number going to the future. For me, our market is good, sweet, but for the month of May, I would say May is a missed month for me. Right. Not really just people say it's positive. Fine, we'll see element of positivity there, but I'll tell you, because markets have rallied in the month of April, the amount of profit taking, and that's why I say it will see a missed trend in the month of April. I also have forecast that the quarter two, will see a missed quarter, for these two, but we are seeing positive April good. Have 2 months left in the quarter. Now we're already in May. I expect that this may also be a miss because we'll have a lot of companies that has their corporate action date for adjustment for dividend in this month of May. That also was led the market up and down. But likely it also close positively small, not as high as what we saw in April. Right. Might be a marginal that 2 point at the end of the day. But let's expect that we'll see a missed trend in the month of May because we expect that profit taking will be part of it. At the same time, price adjustment for all those dividends and also affect the movement of the stock. But for me, earnings is strong.
I want to quickly take a break, and when we come back, let's look at some of the, do a review of some of the earnings we're seeing in the market. Just about 15 of them, the most performed reports that have been released into the market in the month of April. This is Business Breakfast. Well, let's begin now with a cup of tea as we take a break now.
Thank you.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Glad to have you back now. We're still looking at the performance of the equities market in the month of April. On the review analysis of the bank's profit and loss has shown that about 10.4% increase in profit after tax to 281.56 billion naira in the quarter, on that review from about 255.07 billion reported in the first quarter of 2021. The bank's unaudited financial statement talking about some of these banks that are in the market right now. Profitability growth amid hike in total operating expenses and provisions for bad loans. The 12 banks include Access Bank Holdings Limited, or PLC rather, United Bank for Africa, Zenith Bank, Ecobank Transactional Incorporated, Guaranty Trust Holding PLC. You also have Union Bank, Stanbic IBTC Holdings, FCMB Group PLC, Wema Bank PLC, Sterling Bank, Fidelity. These are some of the banks we're seeing. Of all the 12 banks, only Union Bank of Nigeria reported decline in profit before tax. There's about 12 of them or so. So UBA, Access Bank, and 10 others beat analyst forecasts, raking about 34 billion naira profit in the first quarter of 2022. So do you also, agree with the position that these earnings we are seeing from the banks, apart from the fact that we saw, significant performance in the oil sector, the bank also are not left out of some of these, reports we're seeing?
Yeah, the banks being the engine room of any economy is supposed to be as far as the economy is still recovering, we expect the banks also to post an improved number. I would say our banks are really resilient in this period. You can see that the numbers remain positive. But actually, when it comes to looking at figures, especially even for banks and other banks, yes, the details we just read out is very, very impressive. But for an investor, you are not interested in the profit before tax. You are interested in profit after tax. Because that is where you as an investor, you say what will likely come to, because companies have to take off their cost of operation, or they have to pay government what is due to government. That is why you are targeting at what profit after tax. But when you see profit after tax, you divide with the numbers of share in issue, you know what is called earning per share. That also determine what is likely to come to you as an investor. Then if it is, for example, it will be the end of the year, you should know the dividend policy of the company, what percent do they pay as dividend. You will not be thinking of what will likely to come. But for being for Q1, you're not going to forecast what's likely to come at the end of the year and what will come to you. The investors are already looking at the profit after tax, and most of them are up. Only few, as you just said, GTB and Fidelity and what's it called? Union Bank that just recorded a decline in their profit after tax. But these are very kind of a slight decline, very light for me. But for investor, you look at this company, these banks that are already on the exchange that are that have different kind of plans to grow their activities. Some of them have a strategy of using merger and acquisition for expansion, which we see life of Access Bank consistently every year, 5 years, they give you kind of a rolling plan. We have seen that Access has remained at the top with it, then topping now with gross earnings in industry. Automatically, they're competing with Zenith Bank in terms of profit after tax. They're almost the same 58, 57. Just little thing to meet Zenith Bank, but Zenith Bank still remains the most profitable bank with that range. But for others, I see that they are all growing organically. But for ETIs are taking spread of what is happening in Africa continent. ETI has about 52 countries where they have operation, and also they are the one pioneering the what we call the PASS, as the payment gateway for the Africa Trade Zone for ETI. I see all this in imparting ETI cash flow at the end of the day. That means for investors that are designing, these are companies that you look at, and also ETI payments come in dollars. You should know that we know what's happening in dollar environment. Yes, we know that the China, the Ukraine and the Russia war trying to bring an end to globalization, but still we know the power of the dollar in terms of transaction in the world. For me, these are banks that you look at. We have life of Access Bank, Zenith Bank, and the ETI and others. But I believe that this bank has all it takes to continue in the direction of growing their earnings that will support their price going to the future. Because if you look at also the book value of this bank, it tells you that most of them are grossly undervalued. That means they are selling below the value of the company. That means you as an investor, look at where you see that your risk is very small because the P ratio of these companies are very low. And also we're seeing that earning yield of them also has increased. Even you can see that dividend payout for them also impacted their dividend yield. For me, I see potential in the banking sector, but only that the movement in price of banking sector cannot be compared to other sectors in terms of price movement. Because this sector, a lot of things come because of regulation and all that, but we can see that the earnings there are really very impressive. Despite that, most of them are marginal growth, but I tell you that the economy is really recovering. Because
Yeah, give us your outlook for the month of May. Yes, very impressive in the month of April, no doubt about that. But if you look at between the banking sector and the oil sector, there seems to be a bit of competition there. So sometimes the investors will have to make do with which of these sectors have the most impressive numbers for previous month, and then before they can make their decision for the new month. So what's your outlook given these numbers in the market?
So what is happening, I would say that we expect the month of May to be a mixed month, but yes, we expect to the bull dominance to remain for a while. But we believe that because of that markdown date, corporate action date, we'll see up and down, because most of the high cap stock or blue chips has even the month of May or for their awards, for their qualification date and markdown dates. For that, we expect the movement to be there. But on the strength of the numbers that we're seeing, we'll see that there will be what we call sectorial rotation and portfolio rotation, looking for where you can hedge against inflation, where you can also be in those strong group of stocks and sectors that you can use to defend the inflation, so you can have your capital preserved. All these are things will happen in the market between now and end of May. And also that as from June, also we'll be looking forward to see the second quarter result. Why some second quarter result that came from companies like Vitafood and the third quarter came from Guinness. We see that these numbers are pointing to somewhere they are going. Investors are looking at where is the direction of these numbers. That is where they should go, because we'll see that if the oil price continues to impact our economy positively as projected or as forecast by World Bank, that means we're likely to see this trend remain up. Especially, I said it earlier, and I'll still repeat that those companies that were able to pass their high cost to consumer will still post towards positive number. At the end of the day, support their price and their dividend. That is where it should go.
Okay, let's look at, after 2 days of break, perhaps you need to give us your chart, what the market is likely to look like this week. After 2 days, the market resumes on Wednesday, which is today now. So you have 3 more days to go in the week. You give us the direction for the week.
Yeah, actually, you just said if you look at the charts, if you look at the chart, we have seen a strong positive 3 weeks uptrend in the chart. We can see it here. After the market have adjusted down for 4 straight weeks, we're seeing an uptrend, and that's going to continue in these 3 trading days that's remaining in this week, because we expect that to have 2 days holiday. But this 3 days, we expect the market to maintain this positive momentum. As we speak, the market is already in green, about 0.3% up. It says that market is already in that, because numbers is going to guide where fund will flow to. Like I said earlier, that the earnings yield have shown that stock market has the capacity, the power to protect or against inflation. I'm also saying that the PFAs are already exiting in their treasury B position. Well, they are going to stock some banking stock to where to position ahead of what they are full year, because that is the only way we can hedge against inflation. If this inflation remains as it's going, that means most of them in that fixed income market will have a negative return. That will also be not too fair for them. They want to go to where they can hedge against, which equity market is where I think that is safe for them, and also some real estate business which they can do. But I believe that like a stock like UPDC REITs and the UPDC itself are stock that can, because these are sectors that also they're into real estate business for the market. For me, that's area to but I believe that the month of May will be a mixed month. But like as I say, my close marginally up, not as high as 5.7 recorded in April or something slightly down. But I said it earlier that if the slogan says sell in May and come back in April, hold in this month, because of the uptrend we saw in April, but I believe that the positive numbers should support the month of April, May, because people are going to reposition their portfolio and go to sectors that they use to protect their portfolio.
Let's narrow down to some of the stocks to watch in the month. Yes, we had some impressive performance from some of these individual stocks in the month of April. So, but for today or for the rest of the week, what are some of the stocks to watch by investors?
Yeah, I would say for those that are really investors, we have different type of people in the market. We have traders, we have investors, but the buying sentiment will come from traders that want to position because of the numbers. But for those that are investors, look at the company that will maintain the earnings that will support their payment at the end of the day. For me, as you mentioned, banking sector is a place to look at. What is happening also in the industrial sector is not bad. The result of Dangote, WAPCO, and Nebua are not bad. Also, if you go to healthcare sector, the result of fixing, it's not looking bad. That of me and Baker also. Right. If you go to healthcare, that of Okomu, Presco, University Express Presco, these are results that you should watch. These are going to guide you what to do, because I believe that these numbers are very clear to tell what is happening and where they are going. For me as an investor, want to look at these numbers and do a forecast where are they going to be at the end of the year. That should guide you and know where to position. But for those that are in buy and sell signal, I think they should have stock to position this morning or posted it. Let's just log into their buy and sell signal and take position for
perhaps it's a time to call for a tea party. I mean, by investor. Is that what you're saying? That this is the tea party for investors?
Yeah, no. The earnings are good. For me, it should guide investors to what to do. They should not panic in the market. But you can see that the trend is changing. What is happening globally is not affecting the market. Global market are looking down, while our local market is looking up. That's why I say in the month of May we might see adjustment, because if global market is down for April, our market is up for April, it might be a reverse. That's why I say let's watch and see how the market will play out in the month of May.
I think we need to leave it there. Thank you so much, Ambrose Omodion, Chief Research Officer, Investor Consulting Limited. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me
on Business Breakfast.